Hi, everybody. So today I'm going to channel Nostradamus, and I think it's there's something in the wind right now about there's the event going on. There is supposedly the rapture going on. um, there's also the Avengers, World's End going on. Just like a week ago, I happened to start writing again, and I channeled Jesus just to see what would come forward. And it happened to be, this wasn't even on my mind, on the topic of the end of the world. And so I've also had a request to channel Nostradamus, and it feels like a really good time to explore this. So Nostradamus is a pretty interesting individual, and I don't know if everybody knows that. So during the Black Plague, he was a physician, and he really insisted on clean beds and boiled water and was super sanitary. He actually washed his utensils, sanitized his utensils instead of using old, like, regurgitated bloody gut tools. He washed his hands. He was always it was all about cleanliness. And so it's kind of a cool other side to him, other than him just being sort of like the predictor of the future or the end of the world kind of thing. So a little bit about his predictions come from what are like verses or some sort of like poetic kind of verses. I haven't read it yet, but it could be you could analyze them in any way that you want. So it's kind of questionable. Was he predicting the future? Is this really related to this event? It sounds really close, but it's hard to really. It's very kind of metaphorical, so it's hard to really know what it's all about. If this is really about the predicting the future. Anyway, I just wanted to give a little bit of introduction on some of the stuff I foggily know about this individual. I definitely admire the Black Plague background, and I just want to get to know him, his higher consciousness, and just see what type of message he wants to share with the world today. So, everything feels really far at a distance, like really far away. I feel like I'm a child in a dark space, and I'm gravitating towards really intense yellowish orange colored light. It creates the effect of being a portal, almost like you can have a spotlight creates light that goes kind of, it seems like a portal of light. You have a flashlight and it shines, and then the shining just continues to go. So it creates like a portal of light instead of just a splotch of light. It's like a portal of light. So it feels like there's a portal of light, and I'm walking through it. And then there's some sort of darkness here, and then there's like a yellowish orangish colored roundish looking sun like light I'm walking towards. I feel lost and confused. I feel uncertain about the next step. I actually feel more comfortable in the dark than I do in the light. I feel exposed. If I'm in the light, I feel exposed. And I mean, if I'm in the light, the spotlight is on me, I've got to be honest about everything. It's like a lie detector experience, and it's quite traumatizing. And I worry on many different levels about if the world knew the truth about my life, how would that hurt other people's feelings who don't want to hear that truth? Even though that truth would actually make them be a better person. I don't want them to really know about it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to move on with my life. I don't want people to know everything about me. I just simply don't. That's the way this feels right now. It feels like the light is on me, and now the whole world is being asked to expose themselves. And we're talking, the exposure feels like you're walking around naked, and we all see each other, and we all feel a sense of shame, actually. He's talking about the Garden of Eden and the freedom to express yourself as naked without even experiencing the nudity. and he's talking about the light as the ascension of humankind is a vulnerable experience, because we are ascending into being naked again, naked in a way where we feel free to be ourselves without shame. And the nudity is also a reflection of pure and open honesty, somebody looking at you and knowing everything you've ever done. And we're talking average Joes on the street. We just think they're good people, have a history of doing things that were not cool. Or maybe they got lost in themselves. Maybe they hide in their own world and do terrible things to themselves. Maybe they have really awful. I mean, there's porn addictions, there's child pornography, there's drug usage, there's rape, there's stealing, there's lying, there's all kinds of stuff. Imagine if we could look at every single person and know exactly everything they ever chose to do with their life, and could judge each other. Actually could be like, "Oh my god. What? This person that is my friend did this? I cannot be friends with you anymore." Like, that's kind of on the level of it. And Nostradamus is showing me what is a human ascension is exposure. Is you can't hide from each other anymore, and you're stepping into the light. It's feeling very vulnerable, and you're learning how to become naked again. That's what he's saying, and he says it's a good thing. You've been hiding in the dark, in the shadow for far too long. You can't ascend in the darkness. You can. He's talking about the darkness as self-discovery. But it only will help you discover for so long before you need a change of pace, need a change of frequency digestion in order to self-realize or acclimate to all the choices that your soul has made in the dark over a very long period of time. Now is being gifted the experience of light and ability to process all of this and make decisions on a new frequency level. He's like, this is totally normal thing. Like, this is what you would expect to have happen. Or you would expect the human race to feel way too vulnerable entering back into the light. They can't do it. They're too afraid. They feel too much exposure. They're having to return to the Garden of Eden where the shame lies, the original shame, so to speak. And we aren't ready to face our shame yet. We aren't ready to face our choices. We're not ready to face each other with our choices. We're too ashamed, and we can't forgive ourselves for things. We're embarrassed. We're angry. We're sick of other people. We're not choosing to ascend into a state of acceptance of self and others. But it's about exposure. Blatant and pure honest exposure, judgment on a level that only God knows, kind of thing. I tell him that I can take a deep breath, I can close my eyes in the face of ridicule, I can open my eyes in the face of ridicule, and I can give people the finger. And if that's what it takes, damn it, for me to step into the light, then I will do it. I am not going to cower in the darkness, afraid to be myself. I am so tired of that experience. I am so tired of it. And anybody who would ridicule me for wanting to be myself, even if I look stupid or act stupid, then screw them. They're the ones that are afraid. I'm the one at least trying. He smiles at this. He says it takes great courage to accomplish such an act of exposure. He creates the sound of a lot of monkeys, like hyenas, laughing noises, laughing animal noises. It feels like we're all being laughed at all the time, put down, judged, finger pointing. We're not good enough. We're not strong enough. We're not smart enough. We don't have enough money. We don't have the right clothes. We don't live in the right country. Everything is all wrong about us. Everything, and we're just being laughed at. It's like a constant uproar of laughter. Excuse me. He shows me what is the feeling of the idea of everybody. Okay, two sides of the story. You have to give a presentation, you're nervous, so you're supposed to envision everybody naked, right? Well, instead of everybody being naked, you're the naked one and everybody's laughing at you, and it turned out to be a terrible freaking nightmare dream. That makes us all feel horrible inside. Exposure. He says, when will you stop caring about the ridicule and the sounds of other people's ego? When will you just let those noises come to silence? He says, when you allow those noises come to silence, it's very easy to step into the light. It's very easy to expose yourself. He still shows me my initial reaction, which was take a deep breath and close my eyes and just take a step and say, fuck it. He shows me that it's the way it feels for a lot of people. Everything is relaxing now. Everything is far sleepier now, far more relaxed now, sort of letting go energy now. Not realizing you had so much burden. Not realizing that every day you deal with this unheard of laughter and it's uproaring all around you and you don't exactly hear it, but you feel it constantly. You have no idea the energy baggage this creates. It's like, oh my gosh, that's just one side of being human, is carrying the weight of our ego, which is telling us everybody is laughing at us, we're disappointing, we're not good enough, we're a million things, and we're trying to fit in to all of these places, but it just feels like we can't do it all, and we're never going to achieve it all, and then we put ourselves down even more. But when you just let go of all that weight, all that ego, just let it all go. He shows me a human being that just opens up. And when they open up, there's sort of like, I don't know, gushing black flows of liquidiness coming out of them. And it just like is pouring out of them. From their gut, from their heart, from their throat, from their minds. They're just sort of like the Niagara Falls of like old garbagey energy that is ego weight. That they're holding on to it. They're holding on to it with all of their might, but they need to just let it go and let it flow out of them. Just allow it to flow out of them. To feel what it is like to live without ego is a freeing experience. And he says human ascension is to live without ego, because there's no reason for judgment at all. There are choices, yes, but let's move on and choose harmony. A harmony that is full of light and exposure, an exposure that is actually showing us how beautiful we all are. Because it shows us our struggle in unique ways and how that struggle inspired us to make choices because of our vulnerabilities, because we were afraid. Not to hate each other because we were afraid, because that's just hating ourselves then too. And that's staying in the dark. That's staying with ego. That's staying with judgment. This is ascending beyond judgment itself and not being afraid of the exposure and allowing the nudity to be expressed as our divine right, as our divine place, as our Garden of Eden, as who we actually are. We actually are from the Garden of Eden. He loves this story about the Garden of Eden. He when he says it to me energetically, it's like his heart portal turns into a big flower and it just bursts open. When he thinks about us living in harmony with the earth and each other's bodies, the body of the planet and each other's bodies, in a way that is accepting, fully accepting of nudity, and what the choices of the soul have been over thousands of lifetimes, kind of thing. So nudity, there, you cannot hide anything anymore. You are known about, your choices are known, everything is put out before the world to then see who you truly are. And no more hiding, no more masks, no more facades. He says this is beautiful. He says this is pure, this is genuine, this is radiant, this is light. This is what light is all about and ascension is all about. He loves this idea. He loves the freedom of being yourself. 100%. And knowing it's okay to be exposed as actually the greatest gift that you could ever receive in your life is to be honest, is to be totally yourself, and to just let it all go. Because anything that you have done through all your soul choices in history has been a choice based on fear. And we're so full of fear on so many levels because we're working with ego still. And when we just let all that stuff go, it just pours out of us and we feel free to just be entirely our divine essence. I don't feel like I need to be on the defensive now when I walk into the light. I don't feel like I need to flip anybody off. I feel like I can enter into the light and be exposed, and it's okay. How many of us feel like we have to have a shield on just to be ourselves? Because being ourselves is a vulnerable thing in this world, and we need protection from other people. Other people's reactions, other people's egos, other people's vulnerabilities, other people's issues with themselves, which then becomes your issue too somehow. And we feel like we have to walk around with a shield from each other. Even though we want each other in our lives, we also just need everybody to step back a couple of feet, please. Get out of my bubble. You're way too close. And we walk around like behind a shield. And that's why we're always on the defensive about simply just being ourselves and being honest. Just saying the truth about something could hurt somebody's feelings. It could inspire somebody to even commit suicide because it's just too honest. And I couldn't stand that. Imagine being somebody. I don't know why this idea comes to mind. There was some sort of I don't know. It had to do with the ocean and the Navy and some men that were kind of left out into the ocean for a long period of time. And I can't remember what happened, but there was an extraordinary man who was their captain or their higher up. And he couldn't live with himself because of what had happened. And he ended up, the truth came out, etc. And I don't see that this man was a bad man. And I wish I could remember. I don't know why. It's so foggy and hazy, but even good people will commit suicide because they can't tolerate the fact that even they tried their best and it still wasn't good enough, and they can't even digest that reality. So even good people can commit suicide by having to face the honest truth of what the life experience was all about, and it's just too much. It's simply too much. And now that's fear again. Fear of forgiving ourselves. I'm a very important person right now. I gotta pause this. Okay, I'm back. Phone volume off. So I'm just reconnecting with the energy. The freedom to be in the light is just absolutely unbelievable. To let go of the shield is unbelievable. Oh my gosh, it just feels amazing right now. I'm halfway in through the portal, so there's this dark section. There's sort of a stream of light, and then there's like the sun. So I'm coming from the shadow, and I'm finding my way halfway through here, and I'm just standing here, and I'm looking back at Nostradamus, who's actually in the dark right now, where I came from. Something feels like there's a new illusion that I'm gonna have to experience yet. Um, it's kind of a disappointing feeling. I feel like the light, tunnel of light, is starting to get kind of blurry or loopy. I tell Nostradamus I own my own life, and it can get loopy all at once. I can actually choose to become empowered by what other people would find a miserable change of events. I would welcome. I can't explain why this is so jarring right now. It's extremely jarring, and I feel like there's nothing I can do. I'm falling, like my feet are not firmly planted. I'm kind of spiraling. I'm confused. I feel like a fly that just got swatted. I'm going towards the window, like the glass. I'm about to hit the pane. I'm so confused right now. I tried to grow my arm extremely long so I could hold on to the side of the wall, which I'm just sort of falling between two sides of a cliff. And one is the light and one is the dark. And I happen to grab hold of the side with the dark energy there. Nostradamus is standing there looking at me. Something feels so weak, like my arm itself will rip off of my body, and there's just nothing I can do about that. I feel like my insides are being burned alive. I feel like I'm I'm digesting my own body on the inside. It's absolutely horrendous. I feel like I am dying. I feel like I'm choking on my own blood as I'm breathing, and my organs are actually processing blood product and urine and body tissues, and it's absolutely unbelievably mortifying. It's horribly painful. I feel like I stink. I feel like I'm rotting from the inside out. I feel like I want to die. I'm puking from the inside out. It's unbelievably bad. I tell Nostradamus that I hope that God will take my life soon. I can't bear much more of this. He tells me it's still a few more days before your body will die. I take a deep breath and I just say, fuck it. I guess then I'll just have to wait. What else am I gonna do? Beg for it to go away? You gotta somehow just accept it as it is and enjoy the final moments, even if they're painful. Something weird about this, because what do you do? I mean, literally, what do you do? You know you're gonna die in a few days, and you're in some sort of traumatizing, painful experience, and there's nothing you can do about it. What are you gonna do? I see my organs are actually, like, my skin is rotting off and my organs are starting to fall out of my body while I'm still alive. I I see my nudity, and there's something very disturbing about the way my genitalia looks. Like, it looks like rotted and distorted and just disgusting. Like, I look like a rotted flesh corpse. Like, you want to see a zombie, this is what a zombie would really look like, and it is absolutely disgusting. And it reeks, and it's sick to look at. It's terrifying to know that this is what is happening to you right now, as you're watching it happening to everybody else around you. This is really like a black plague experience here. I mean, you want to talk about a zombie apocalypse? I'm starting to get where that is coming from. Like, the human race has had some sort of, like, obsession and actual, like, sick and twisted love and hope that a zombie apocalypse will actually happen here. I want to just smack people. Wake up. You don't want a zombie apocalypse. Are you freaking, like, completely mad? Have you lost your freaking mind, dude? If the zombie apocalypse actually happened, you would be in a living fucking nightmare. And now I'm starting to see that zombie apocalypse actually comes from the human race's experience of the Black Plague, because you have living dead people strewn about, and it's absolutely grotesque. It stinks. They're still alive in this horrible state of being, and it's sort of like our collective is trying to purge this out. I don't know why it's being looked at as a good thing, but people, they just want, it's like, usually guys, they're gonna have their like house full of ammunition, and then they're gonna have like two super hot chicks, and then they're gonna just take care of these hot chicks while they just use all their ammunition to kill like millions and millions of zombies. And it's just gonna take like a day to do it, and then they can just go out and find food and stuff, and and that's how we get back to the Garden of Eden. Don't you know? That's how it happens. I'm enduring the experience of my flesh rotting from the inside out, and it is absolutely horrible. I feel like if I were to touch my skin too much, I would actually indent into my skin and my flesh would rip out. If I touch my skin, because it's rotting so bad, that even if I were to just touch it, my finger would poke through my skin, and I would touch muscle fibers and even go right straight to the bone. It's like the flesh is just rotting off of the bone and I'm still alive. I actually tell him, please, you don't need to do anything to help me feel better. I am accepting my fate. I see into the face of a bird, a man wearing this plague doctor outfit. He said, what if I didn't leave you? Even if you asked me, even if you begged me to leave you, what if I didn't leave? He said I would cry, and I wouldn't know why you would stay, and I would be thankful for it. Because nobody should die like this. That's what I would say. It's just too terrible. He says, then I will stay. And he holds my hand. It's very painful. It's very terrible to the mind, to emotions, to everything, to the soul. It's very terrible. But eventually I transition. I still feel like I'm holding his hand, even as a spirit going into heaven. And I'm so thankful. Because he didn't have to. He says that's what love is. I'm a soul in heaven, and I feel kind of confused or disoriented. I see there's lots of souls here. It's just sort of hovering, and we're all sort of confused and disoriented. I still can see back to Nostradamus. I can see my body. I can see everything as though I'm standing right there, but I'm also in another dimension of reality. I feel like my mind could, or my soul somehow could project there, project anywhere, and it would be like I was standing right there. But I'm not there, and Nostradamus is still a human being, and my corpse is being removed. I don't I'm sort of unable to digest that I just died this way. I actually look at my body and it is very hard for my soul to process this image. I can't breathe even as a soul looking at how terrible this is. I'm so sad. I tell him as a spirit, and he doesn't know that I'm here talking to him. There's so many souls that are like this right now. So sad. I'm confused. There's so many of us, and our pain is sort of creating a vortex of energy. And it's part of our learning, it's part of all of our collective learning. And Nostradamus, along with many other voices, tell me that it is the memory of somebody holding your hand. Those types of experiences digest into that collective agony, and they create light, pinpoints of light, so that the agony isn't the only thing that is there, because there's still light and love there that neutralizes it, neutralizes the pain. It takes a very long time for my soul to heal from this, and for a lot of souls to move on. I see my soul learning almost like an odd obsession or curiosity about what it is to rot from the inside out. In other lifetimes, I'm trying to make sense of why I need to know what it is like to rot from the inside out. And it all stems back from dying in the Black Plague. Even in this lifetime, I still make choices to endure rotting from the inside out through my emotions, making choices that would create a calamity. A lot of human beings still are working through this. Once you start to understand where it comes from, you can let it go and you can move on. He says that's why it's so important that we start moving into the light, so we can have this exposure, is what he says. He says to let go of wanting to see the real sides of people, as in the evil sides of people making decisions on your planet. A lot of people are obsessed with wanting to know the truth about what certain people are, decisions are going on, and secret governments, and people who are really rich, politicians, etc. Let's get the exposure on these guys. He says let it go. He says it's more beautiful to have exposure to somebody who has done a miraculous deed for humanity than human beings who have done harmful deeds for humanity. It's tiring to continue to try to count all of the negative deeds. He shows me like a list of Santa Clauses, who's the good person, who's the bad person. In the end, why don't we just focus on the people who are doing extraordinary things? Is simply holding somebody's hand as they're in the process of dying is an extraordinary thing. And who gets credit for being that one? And nobody seems to want to know about those people. He says it's also what the process of ascension is all about, is letting go of that as well, the hurt, the blame, the judgment, the anger, the need for people to be persecuted for their choices. But we won't take the time to say, where are the good people in this world, and digest all of those stories and feed off of those stories as the only thing that matters anymore. Our souls have all seen enough hurt Don't you think? I don't think I can say anymore. I'm so exhausted from this. I did not expect this. This was so cool. This is so unbelievable. I'm just so mind blown right now. There was no way I was going to redo this journey. I didn't have my cell phone silenced, but I gotta just go with the flow. And I like it to be uninterrupted, but I gotta share this as it is and feel really changed by it. Alright, I gotta go. I'm gonna be in a weird haze for a while. Thank you all for all your wonderful comments, and if you felt touched by this message, please share your thoughts. If you liked the video, I would love if you want to give me a like. And if you're ever interested in exploring a psychic session with me, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you all a wonderful day.